Part 1, the stillness before the storm. There's a moment before every storm quiet. It's almost peaceful when nothing seems wrong. Yet the air carries a tension only the aware can feel. In relationships, that silence often tells more truth than words ever could. We live surrounded by noise promises, explanations, excuses. But as Marcus Aurelius said, if someone can show me I am mistaken, I will gladly change, for truth is my only pursuit. Most people don't speak truth. They protect comfort. And in love, comfort often becomes the disguise of distance. Trust is not a wall, it's water. It flows between two hearts, clear when honesty lives there, cloudy when one begins to drift. Before love breaks, it ripples. Those ripples are small moments we often overlook, the shorter messages, the sighs between sentences, the smiles that no longer reach the eyes. A Stoic doesn't chase jealousy. Epictetus said, "It is not things that disturb us, but our opinions about them." The goal is not suspicion, it's perception. When we learn to see without judgment, we discover what words try to hide. Imagine a man sensing something change. His partner says everything is fine, yet her presence feels distant. Instead of panic, he pauses. He observes. He stays rooted in clarity rather than emotion. This is Stoic. Discipline, not silence born of fear, but stillness born of strength. Every betrayal begins long before it's confessed. It begins in thought, in subtle choices that reshape connection. And if we wish to stay free from bitterness, we must see, not accuse. Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Before reacting, breathe. Watch. Truth reveals itself without your force. The wise do not need to control others to stay at peace. They master only themselves. This isn't about judging women or fearing love. It's about seeing clearly. It's about meeting truth with calm awareness. For wisdom isn't found in suspicion, it's found in perception. And through perception, you discover the highest freedom, the ability to stay at peace even when others change. Part 2. I just need some space. When she says, "I just need some space," it sounds gentle, even reasonable. We all need moments of solitude. The Stoics often withdrew into silence to understand themselves. But sometimes space isn't peace, it's distance disguised as calm. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful than your own soul." True solitude brings clarity, not confusion. When distance starts to feel like separation instead of reflection, something deeper is shifting. Often the request for space is not to breathe, it's to drift. Imagine a man hearing these words from the woman he loves. He believes her. He respects her need for time. Yet days grow longer, conversations shorter, and warmth fades into politeness. What she calls peace begins to feel like disappearance. This is when Stoic awareness matters most. The wise man doesn't chase or demand answers. Epictetus reminded us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Give space, but observe. See whether that distance brings her back in peace or moves her further away in silence. If the bond is real, space will strengthen it. If not, truth will reveal itself without force. Suspicion only creates more separation. A Stoic response is calm acceptance, strength in stillness. To give without clinging is not weakness. It's mastery. Love cannot be held by fear. It can only grow where freedom exists. Sometimes space is honest healing. Sometimes it's the beginning of departure. Either way, your peace must not depend on what another chooses. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Be brave enough to let the truth unfold. When you stop resisting reality, you stop suffering. Whether she returns or walks away, you remain whole because your calm was never hers to take. Part 3. He's just a friend. When she says, "He's just a friend," the words sound harmless, and sometimes they are. True friendship between a man and a woman can exist when built on honesty and respect. But other times, that phrase becomes a soft veil, thin, gentle, and carefully placed to cover what's quietly growing underneath. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When her thoughts start turning towards someone else, her emotions follow. She might not even realize it at first. Her laughter around him becomes freer, her messages longer, her eyes brighter. She calls him just a friend, not always to deceive, but because she's not ready to admit what's shifting inside her. Imagine a man who notices this subtle change. When he asks, she smiles and says, "You're overthinking." He's just a friend, yet something in her energy feels different, less present, more distracted. The Stoic response is not accusation, but awareness. As Epictetus taught, we suffer not from what happens to us, but from our judgment about what happens. See what's real without letting emotion distort it. True friendship brings peace and transparency. False friendship hides behind secrecy. The difference is, in the pattern, how often she mentions his name, how she glows when talking about him, and how she guards her phone when he texts. You don't need control to see the truth. You only need clarity. Seneca reminded us, "He who fears loss already loses." If her bond with you is pure, friendship will strengthen it. If not, time will expose what words try to hide. The Stoic path is calm, detachment, observe without resentment, love without possession, and accept without clinging. Remember, love cannot survive where fear rules. Let her nature reveal itself. If the friendship is innocent, peace will remain. If not, you will still stand unbroken because your stability was never dependent on her truth, but on your own. Part 4. I've just been busy. When someone says, "I've just been busy," it sounds simple, even in. Life does demand our time, work, family, responsibilities. But sometimes busy is not about schedule. It's about avoidance. It's a quiet disguise for emotional distance. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." A person truly occupied still makes space for what they value. Time, like attention, always reveals where the heart truly is. When busy becomes a repeated answer, it may no longer reflect a crowded life, but a fading connection. Picture a man texting the woman he loves. She replies hours later, short, polite, distant, "Sorry, I've been busy." Days go by, and her warmth cools into formality. Her presence feels more like a task than a choice. The wise man sees this not with anger, but with awareness. Epictetus reminded us, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. So he steps back, not to punish, but to observe. True busyness is temporary. Emotional withdrawal lingers. The Stoic response is calm, understanding, not begging, not chasing. He knows that forcing attention never creates love. It only reveals dependency. Seneca wrote, "He suffers more than necessary, who suffers before it is necessary." So he does not let anxiety fill the silence. He lets the truth unfold. Sometimes people hide behind busy, not to deceive, but because they're afraid of confrontation. They fear the honesty of saying, "My feelings have changed." The Stoic accepts this truth without resentment. He knows that peace does not come from being chosen. It comes from choosing composure. So when she says, "I've just been busy," hear it without judgment. Maybe she truly is. Maybe she isn't. Either way, stay steady. Give what you can, step back when needed, and let reality reveal itself. For Marcus Aurelius reminds us, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. And in that same spirit, if it is not genuine, let it go. Your peace is not in her attention, it's in your discipline. Part 5. I'm fine. When someone says, "I'm fine," it sounds peaceful, but often. It's the quiet before the truth breaks through. Those two words can carry more silence than any argument. The Stoics understood this well. People hide pain behind calmness because facing it feels heavier than concealing it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up." In relationships, silence isn't always peace. Sometimes protection. A woman may say, "I'm fine not to lie," but to avoid the storm of honesty. She tells herself that silence keeps balance. But every unspoken truth builds distance. Picture this. A man asks softly, "Is something wrong?" She smiles faintly. No, I'm fine. Her tone is steady. Her eyes are not. Conversations grow shorter. Laughter fades. The warmth between them cools into politeness. The Stoic man doesn't panic. Epictetus reminded us. It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. So he observes without forcing words, understanding that pressure only hardens walls. He remains calm, steady, patient. Seneca said, "Silence is a lesson learned through life's many sufferings." Silence can be healing when used for reflection, but destructive when used to hide. The wise man knows the difference. He doesn't demand confessions, nor does he drown in worry. He allows actions to reveal what words conceal. If her silence is temporary, peace will return. If it deepens, then truth is already speaking through absence. True strength is not in forcing someone to speak, but in holding your own composure when they don't. When she says, "I'm fine," hear it, but look beyond it. Respond not with pressure, but with presence. Be steady enough to hold calm even when the bond trembles. Because Marcus Aurelius reminds us, if it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. The Stoic doesn't beg for honesty. He becomes it. And through that stillness, he finds peace not from her words, but from his own alignment with truth. Part 6, the truth, the change, and the peace within in the end. The Stoics remind us, nothing in life is permanent. Not love, not passion, not even the promises we once believed unbreakable. Everything is borrowed for a moment in time. And the one who accepts this truth lives with a calm others can't understand. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny for what could more aptly fit your needs." Love, too, is part of that pattern sometimes. To teach connection, sometimes to teach detachment. What hurts us most is not change itself, but our resistance to it. Picture a man who gave everything he could. Time, care, loyalty. Yet one day the person he loved simply drifted away. She didn't mean to cause pain. She was simply following her own path. The Stoic doesn't curse fate. He breathes deeply and whispers to himself, "This, too, is life." Epictetus taught, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well." Every bond has two parts, what you give and what you cannot control. Trying to own what was never yours only multiplies suffering. The Stoic path is not coldness, it's clarity. It's the understanding that love, when freely given, is beautiful, even if it doesn't last. Seneca said, "He who has learned to die has unlearned to serve." To die to attachment is not to stop loving, it's to love without chains, to care deeply while remaining free, to stand still in a world that keeps changing. So if the person you loved walks away, let them. If the truth unfolds in silence, accept it. Because your peace does not come from their return, it comes from your response. In the end, everything changes. But the one who remains disciplined in heart, steady in mind, and calm in spirit remains free.